Hello. Yeah, this is a very disturbing article I read that people are finding out when they do DNA kits, for themselves through Ancestry and whatnot. Not sure the amount. I did see a woman in the comments basically say that she knows someone that found something like this out, and it was very traumatic for her friend. So I was like really sorry to hear that. I can't even imagine how traumatic that would be to find out when you just do a simple, like, you know, DNA thing to try to determine, stuff with your family history and whatnot. And you were raised by someone you believed was your biological father, and then you find something like that out. It's just got to be traumatic. So I feel bad for anyone going through this, for sure. But anyways, what I'm going to do is add what I saw to the post I saw, and I'm just going to simply have some program I use on my phone to read it, what's being said. But if you want to read the article yourself, basically the link will be in the description, and then I'll have something to say after it. It's just wow, just absolutely baffling, to say the least. Well, here goes the article reading.
Many consumer DNA kits are a fun way to learn a little more about your background and, perhaps, build a family tree. For others, they can unearth deep buried, often painful, family secrets. See, for example, the dozens, maybe hundreds, of people born through artificial insemination who are only now finding out that the biological father is not who they thought he was but the doctor who completed the procedure. Take Kelly Rowlett. Rowlett had her DNA tested through the site Ancestry.com in 2017 and was shocked when the results revealed she was not related to her father. Instead, she found she was related to a man called Gerald Mortimer, who turned out to be the doctor who had delivered her as a baby. Rowlett submitted a lawsuit, and it subsequently come out that members of the Obstetrics and Gynecology Associates of Idaho Falls were aware of Mortimer's behavior. But as Jacqueline Mroz reports for the New York Times, this Jerry Springer-esque type of revelation is not a fluke or a one-off. People across the US and the world are reaching the same conclusion, discovering a life-changing piece of information they would never have known if not for the growing popularity of consumer DNA kits. In 2019, DNA analysis confirmed that Dutch fertility doc Jan Karbart, who died aged 89 in 2017, fathered at least 49 children to women who saw him at his Rotterdam clinic. But even this large number may be an underestimate. He has claimed there could be as many as 60. According to reports at the time, it is thought he falsified data and descriptions of donors. It is not entirely clear how common this sort of behavior, aka fertility fraud, is. The cases that have come to light represent just a tiny fraction of the millions of children born from IVF and other advanced fertility treatments. However, as more and more people choose DNA testing, additional examples of this type of malpractice may well come out of the woodwork. Unless it becomes routine to check babies' DNA against the presumed biological parents' DNA to make sure the genes match, we really won't know how often this happens. Dr. Julie Cantor, MD, JD, a lecturer in law at the UCLA School of Law who specializes in health law and reproductive rights, told IFLS Science. Hopefully, fertility fraud turns out to be just a few cases. Rogue doctors who, decades ago when they switched out the sperm, never imagined that home DNA testing would become a thing and that their secret would be found out. Not only is this behavior a grotesque breach of trust and a stark betrayal of physicians' ethics, but nowadays, because of easy DNA testing, it's just brazenly dumb. Neither is it clear why fertility doctors are doing it in the first place. In some cases, it may be born of a lack of access to frozen sperm. In others, it might serve as a perverse power trip. Or, as Cantor puts it, the answer may come down to two truisms, from Lord Acton's, power corrupts, to, follow the money. The most charitable take would be something like the patient couldn't get pregnant and the available sperm was not leading to embryos or pregnancies, so he thought he'd help, she added. A more nefarious take is that the doctor wanted to create his own children by the dozens. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Still, it seems to be a big enough problem that some states have felt the need to step in and introduce new laws to deal with dodgy fertility practices such as these, albeit frequently at the behest of the victims themselves. In Indiana and California, state governments have passed bills calling the use of unauthorized sperm a felony, the latter passed after couples at one fertility clinic found out their embryos were being implanted into others in 1995. Those affected have a right to sue those responsible. Meanwhile, in Texas, it has been declared a form of sexual assault. Anyone caught using unauthorized sperm or unauthorized eggs and embryos will be registered as a sex offender. While the above examples go to show that, in some cases, proven incidents of fertility fraud have inspired legislation to address the crime directly, the process is slow and time-consuming. You have to be patient and motivated, says Cantor. And often, victims have used more, garden variety, charges to get their stories heard and the perpetrators prosecuted. Unfortunately, the law has not quite caught up with the technology, and sometimes the available causes of action do not fit like a lock and key, explained Cantor. People have brought lawsuits alleging things like negligence, breach of contract, infliction of emotional distress, and tried to find a resolution through those garden variety legal claims. In 1992, years before the dawn of at-home testing, the New York Times reported on an incident in Virginia, where a fertility doctor called Cecil B. Jacobson was put on trial for telling patients they were pregnant when they were not and, it later turned out, for using his own sperm to impregnate clients without their knowledge or consent. He was given 5 years in prison for 52 counts of fraud and perjury, the Washington Post reports. It is thought he could have fathered more than 70 children. The whole affair was seen as so strange, it inspired the development of a 90s television movie called The Babymaker, the Dr. Cecil Jacobson story, featuring George Junzer as Jacobson. Now, similar cases are popping up in other states, including Vermont and Connecticut. The difference being they are emerging because children of artificial insemination, like Rowlett, are using consumer DNA kits.
Okay, so you might hear a dog barking in the background. That's like a neighbor across the street's dog barking. Anyways, yeah, here's what I have to say to all this. I am at least glad they're now putting laws out for it, because that's really insane. It's just wrong on so many levels. The biggest thing here to me is consent, and when a doctor is doing that just to get results, for one, he needs consent from the biological mother to even do that. And on top of that, I do believe that she shouldn't get away with telling another man that he's the father when he's not, like her husband or whatever. Like, this all needs to be consensual on all parts. That's what I have to say about it, but more than likely, no, it's usually not, from what I'm understanding, and it just shouldn't happen. Like, that's really messed up. And what is the ulterior motive, rather than, just make results happen to look like you're doing a good job? Is it to have more of your seed out there? I mean, it's just like more people that are related, like children to you. I don't know. This is just crazy. I came across this and I haven't fully processed it all the way through, other than what we just heard. It's just crazy. Just felt like making a video about how crazy this is. I was just baffled. Yeah, normally don't do reading article videos like this, but this felt like one to do one on. It's crazy to say it's insane to say the least. I don't know, but I am sorry for anyone out there that goes through that, like that had to find that out and is living with that, because it's not your fault. It's definitely not. I don't know. That's just insane. But anyways, yeah, I'm glad laws got strict in other states and they're putting out more laws for this, because you just can't do that. It's just common sense. I shouldn't even have to say that. You just can't do that. That's sick beyond so many words. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, so sorry to anyone experiencing that. And man, can't imagine. I really can't. Anyways, yeah, I didn't hear that was a big thing going around till now. And then I read a comment where, in that same post, where a woman said she knew someone that found that kind of information out doing Ancestry.com's DNA kit. That's just horrible. Oh my God. I can't imagine. I really can't. I don't think a lot of us can imagine that. That's just, wow. And I'm sure that is very traumatic. She said it was very traumatic for her friend. I can only imagine. I mean, that has to be very traumatic on so many levels. You know, because when we're usually raised with people, you know, and used to believe one thing and to find something like that out, I can't imagine at all. Anyways, yeah, it's a bit out there. Yeah, anyways, I don't know what else to say other than it's baffling, very baffling. But yeah, I really do agree with, if someone's doing stuff like the doctors or whatever doing stuff like that, definitely register them as a sex offender. You can't do that. You just can't mess with people like that, you know? Thank goodness for DNA kits now. I mean, so many things are getting unburied that needed to be. I'll tell you. Goodness. Anyways, y'all stay safe, whoever's listening to this, and it's just crazy stuff, I'll tell you.